Hello and welcome to this video podcast on positivity journaling. So I'm Alexa Warner and I'm a health hypnocoach, and I specialise in helping people deal with the symptoms, the causes and the impact of chronic pain, both emotional and physical. So that could be things like fibromyalgia, could be chronic illness, or things like depression and anxiety. And most of my clients keep a positivity journal alongside the work that we do. So during this video podcast, I am having a discussion with Heather. And Heather was an early member of my Rebalance program. And her journal really inspired us all because we work within a group and we share our journal entries if we want to. But so within the live Facebook group, there's a lot of communication and a lot of camaraderie. And for those that really struggled with keeping a journal, I thought it would be helpful to make this video. So if it's something that you've ever considered doing, you will get some ideas and inspiration and learn a little bit more about the benefits of what that could do for you. And then at the end of the video, there are quite a few images from Heather's journal. So I hope this inspires you. I've recorded this introductory part because I must admit this was recorded on Zoom, this webinar, and sometimes the sound goes a little crackly, so I had to remove the beginning of the video. So I do hope that you enjoy it, and if I can be of any help to you afterwards, then there are links at the end. So sit back, make yourself a cup of tea and learn about positivity journaling.
I hadn't ever kept a journal before doing the course, and it was really good to, I suppose, to focus on it being a positive opportunity and to really think every day about aspects of the day that had been really positive and to log them. And I wanted to keep it really simple. I didn't want to overcomplicate it. And I didn't want it to be a diary because I think diaries are slightly different. And also, if you keep a diary and then for some reason you don't fill in one day, you end up with gaps. So I was trying to do it. It was more just my thoughts of the day without putting a kind of time element on it, I suppose. So I wanted to keep it really simple. I like drawing. I did actually start it by printing out pictures and cutting them out and sticking them in and writing around them. And then I thought, no, I can just draw. I mean, I'm not a great artist. They're very simplistic drawings. They're a bit childlike probably, but they just, for me, I suppose they give me time when I'm logging it to process what's happened in the day. So it's also a really mindful aspect as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of evidence that how you're using a different part of your brain when you're drawing, when you're in your creative side, and that can really help process emotion. So that's why art therapy and things like that is very useful. So yes, it was the intention from the very beginning was that these would be positivity journals, but there was a daily mindfulness aspect because rather than just going through the course of your day, now you were going to go through it and you were going to notice all the good things. And we weren't looking for whiz-bang massive events, were we? We were looking at the tiniest of things. So Heather has dogs, one of which is responsible for the broken leg she has at the moment, which happened in the middle of Rebalance. So luckily you had us to support you through it. Yes, the drawings were, for the rest of us, a really actually significant part of it, because I myself too have struggled to keep a regular journal. And when you see the drawings, so one thing I talk about with my clients is the fact that I want this to be a reference point for them. So yes, not having the date so that they know the period of time that they've kept this, especially if they've done it during the course of our treatment, but then they've gone on and lots of my clients, some of them will still message me 2 or 3 years later and say, I've been putting this in my diary or my journal, and will send me a picture. And so it was getting into these healthy well-being habits during that time, but then being able to know that we could look back at them and give ourselves that little mental prompt to go back into those feelings, back into that time. So how easy was it to find those little things that you would journal?
Well, at first, it was sometimes a struggle. I think, what's happened today that's positive? And I was looking for bigger things, like, I don't know, I can't think, but I was looking for sort of bigger events. But actually, what I really came to realise was it was really small events in the day that meant something, and particularly around breaking my leg. That was hugely important for me, keeping little snippets of positivity. For example, a neighbour who I didn't even really know offered to walk my dogs for me. And, you kind of think, oh, that's just going to happen randomly. But actually, that was a big thing that she kept that up. But then also, I suppose, to little tiny, I'll think of an example, little tiny things. Oh, somebody popped round and mowed the lawn for me. But also really small things like sitting on the sofa, and it was easy with the broken leg to sit and feel a bit sorry for myself, but to see a snippet of sunshine coming in the window and just warming me was just heavenly. So it was little tiny things, and also sort of more things to do with kindness. There was so many things that I could have put in. I tend to do 5 things a day. There have been days I could have done 50. It became so many positive little experiences in the day. It was fantastic. So I think I noticed the positivity more because I was journaling. I really thought about it.
Yeah, so imagine, what do you think? I mean, it obviously helped the fact that we were in the middle of a course when you broke your leg anyway. So you were being supported during that time. But how do you think it would have been without the journal or without the support of the course?
Oh my goodness. I really think without the support of the course, I really am not actually sure how I would have got through managing how I felt. I think I would have probably wallowed a lot more in feeling sorry for myself instead of looking at the positives. And meditating has just been so fantastic because it's brought me back to now. And the journaling, I think I probably wouldn't have even thought of doing it, actually. I probably wouldn't have thought of doing it. So hugely important, and something I will absolutely keep up. I think it really is so beneficial. And I think as well, at the end of the day, I've found it just really helped process the day and kind of let me, oh, that was a lovely day. That was a good day. Now I'm ready for tomorrow, kind of thing. It really did help. I've enjoyed it so much, and I will carry on enjoying it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good way to, especially if you have trouble sleeping, if you have things going through your head, that an hour or 2 before you go to bed, to write your journal and to notice the good stuff. I do have clients that write it in bed, and I think that's fine to go to bed maybe with a sense of gratitude and thinking about the good stuff. For some people, they find that sort of gets the thoughts going a bit too much, that maybe they need to just read something before bed or do one of the meditations instead. And Heather now has just joined me on our little summer road trip of 6 weeks of mindfulness, meditation and more. And we're going to, so for those that haven't already started a journal, but those that have will be continuing on. So it'll be interesting how, because this is quite a different course, even though we've got a lot the same type of exercises in it. It's not as structured. This is meant to just really be an exploration into our mind. So it'll be interesting what things go into your journal in relation to that.
been thinking about it actually since just earlier. I was thinking of how I could visualize it and sort of use those thoughts. And sometimes, because sometimes I can't think how to draw something, and you can Google things and just put like, I was trying to draw something that sort of represented meditation, and I was thinking I could do hands or, you know, but actually I just Googled meditation cartoon and got a little cartoon up and things. So you can kind of copy.
Yeah.
You don't have to be hugely artistic or anything. It is, some of it is just copying things.
Yeah.
And I think as well, using it, I didn't just do all the positivity. We did other meditations, like the one about opening the doors and going down the steps. And that, again, for me, visualization was really, I found it better to draw it than put it in words, really.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And she also posted up a beautiful picture when one night we went for a sunset meditation in our minds. So this is great, you know, because anybody who is watching this even years to come, you never know how long this will go out through the internet. We have been in lockdown. So I started the rebalance course literally. I just thought, right, let's just put it out there now, just as lockdown was happening. So we were all leading very different lives. There was a lot of fear going on, wasn't there? A lot of uncertainty about what would happen and where this was going. So at this point, we're 3 months down the line and lockdown is we're just coming out of it, but that in itself is bringing a whole new set of challenges. And so we've been in a place we've maybe never been before. And the only certainty that you get in this life is you. You know you're going to be there wherever you are, and you won't know it if you're not. So it was very much about harnessing our own sense of calmness, our own sense of control, and appreciating the small world that we were now put into. But when you look back at these, oh yes, so I went off track there. So we did this sunset meditation because you didn't have to go out anywhere to do it. And she posted this picture up of her dog on a beach in the Scilly Isles, was it? Yeah. And it was exactly what I too was imagining, which was very clever. When I don't write these meditations, I literally just sit there and see what comes out. I have a theme in mind and I go on the journey. So I'm imagining it as I go, but seeing the pictures and the drawings that have come from this. So maybe you will be drawing us little pictures for each meditation.
Yeah. And I think as well, it's really, we all love a pretty notebook. I'm sure stationery.
Or a stack of mine.
And I initially, to be honest, the one I'm doing now, I just covered a notebook with pretty paper, and I just wrote on it, "From ruin there is treasure," which is one of my favourite sort of sayings. And I'm using that, and I will finish using it because I don't want to leave blank pages. But then I did treat myself to a beautiful Escape to the Chateau journal where they personalise them. So you can make one, or you can buy a really nice one. There's so many beautiful books out there.
Yes. I once bought, I don't know if you can see without a bit of glare, the Wellbeing Journal. This is from Mind. Though I would say I found, maybe because I was creating my own stuff, but like on one page here it just goes, "How are you?" And they've got different colour shapes and things like that. And I found it difficult because as you're going through the journal, you don't necessarily feel able to do that particular exercise, or what they're asking you to do as far as their creativity doesn't match yours. So the great thing about just buying an empty book is the fact that you can make it whatever you want, whereas other people really, really like the structure of being led through it. So I
I prefer empty.
Yeah, I gave you themes each week, sort of prompting where your attention could go to, but then it was left to yeah, to continue really with just your daily gratitude and appreciation and awareness.
Yeah, there was a lovely one which I really enjoyed so much, which was about very important people in my life. And I started to think about the important people in my life, and as I thought about them, I thought about more people, and suddenly there was just all these people that were so important that I probably had. They're just there. I mean, I value them, but I really thought about them, and it was so lovely to write a little bit about, you know, each person and why they're important, what they kind of mean to me. And in fact, I ended up with one page, and I had to then go on and do another page. I think I did 3 in the end. And
Wow.
then I also did very important animals, because
Yeah.
I've got, so it was just really lovely to have that time to sit and think and just write why. So not just a name, but why are they important? And
Yeah.
so I think that was one of the things, one of the topics, wasn't it? And then things like what I can do well, what I'm good at.
Yes, that's a very significant one, because we often don't recognize our own skills, or blowing our own trumpet can feel really uncomfortable. I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but again, the people in your life, that's something I often do when I'm working with people that are having difficult relationships, whether that's to do with work, whether that's to do with personal relationships, that even if someone is giving you a load of negativity and you've trained your mind to actually think, yeah, but what are the good things about this person?
Yeah.
Then you respond completely differently. And
Yeah.
the saying is, you can't change others, but when you change yourself, they change in response. So I've been working with an 11-year-old who last week had fallen out with all his friends. And so I gave him some tips on this, and to think about, you know, the benefit, what these children were really like, and the benefits of the friendships and whatever. This week they've all made up. It's like, how did that happen? It's straight away he's already now seeing his friends, and certainly the ones that maybe he's not so much his friends, his enemies, he's seeing them in a different light. And
Yeah.
it's such a valuable skill to nurture.
I think
So
it really is.
yeah, so it may appear just a journal, but it's way more than that, isn't it?
It is. And the other thing, which is quite, I think is quite funny, I wanted to write it that if suddenly I disappeared, I didn't mind if anyone looked at it. So again, it's not like a diary where I'm putting, you know, sort of I don't know, maybe negative stuff or anything. It is totally, anybody who knows me could look at this and they probably would be, they'd smile, they'd think it was funny or happy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to be anything that I didn't ever want people to see, or and in fact, my dad kept journals mainly about the weather and nature, but I've got those and they're absolutely beautiful. And sometimes I just open them randomly and pick, and they always make me smile. So I kind of wanted it to be a really nice thing that nobody might be interested whatsoever, but I just wanted it to be nice, that I would never feel worried if anybody picked it up and saw it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's an important thing, definitely, because it's not, because it's all good stuff, but also, can you imagine in 10, 20, 30 years time, and maybe even future generations? I think Heather is quite funny, quite quirky. She's definitely an individual here, passionate about nature and our animals and things like that. And it really reflects through in the journal. So I think if someone just randomly picked up that journal, they think they know you already. And I think they probably would know you. They wouldn't just think it. So some of the benefits of keeping a positivity journal are, and as I say, it might just seem like a journal, but we're actually stimulating the positive thinking part of our brain. And in doing that, we're increasing the neural pathways to that area. And so we are becoming more resilient. So when we are in a what I can do attitude and what I have got, so in that sense of abundance and gratitude, and then the left frontal cortex is being highly stimulated, and the right frontal cortex, which is our natural go-to worst case scenario, we are negativity biased in our wiring, so that tends to get more use. And what they found is that these type of exercises, alongside the meditations as well, really begin to grow and thicken that area of the brain. So then when you do have a challenging situation in your life, your brain goes, oh, okay, how can I deal with that? And you've got all of these references of what you're good at and the people that you've got around you, and the fact that life is quite good. So you come from that perspective. Whereas without having done that, as you say, when you've broken your leg, things weren't going easy in our lives anyway, because of lockdown, that could have been one thing too many. That for some people, that could be the difference between going down into a deep depression or actually managing the situation and coming out of it okay. So,
and I think it did. There is no doubt it helped me get through. You know, which there have been some difficult times, particularly after the surgery, and without a doubt, it helped me get through. And it kind of made me laugh when I drew. I had to face looking at where I'd had my leg operated on, and I found that quite hard because it's quite hard to accept you've been damaged in a way. But I kind of a positivity thing was facing my wound like a strong woman and accepting I'm damaged, but I'm okay. And then drawing a little leg with a scar on it, and it just kind of made me laugh. So it just, it made everything kind of okay. It just gave me time, process it, and it's okay. So, yeah.
Fantastic. So if anybody is thinking, I really want to keep a journal, I do have a blog with some instructions. So I have a sort of overview, but I think the most important thing is to just really begin to notice what's in your everyday life. So to not look for something that isn't there to journal about, it might be waking up in the morning, or if there's something, if you've got pets, you might start with your pets, the funny things my cat does, the pleasures that my pets bring me and things like that, and then develop it from there. But in the meantime, Heather and I are going to continue our 6-week journey on. And I have a Facebook group that you're welcome to join called Relief and Recovery from, I can't even remember, Relief and Recovery from Chronic Pain and Anxiety, I think it's called. It's a bit of a mouthful, a bit of a long name, but I'll put all the links up at the end, and there will be some pictures so you can browse through what Heather has created for us. She didn't know she was creating it for us, but she does appear to have done. And thank you for watching. And my contact details are up at the end if you want to know any more. So thank you.